Oh hi. Parma, the city in the northern Italian region Emilia-Romagna, the administrative center of the province of the same name, on the small river of the same name, to the northwest of Bologna. Hilary of Poitiers is considered the patron of the city. A city holiday, on January 13. In 2.4 kilometers to the northwest from the city, the international airport of Parma of Giuseppe Verdi is located. The Gallic city of Parma in 183 became the Roman colony and became quite important shopping center soon. Destroyed by Mark Antony's soldiers, it was restored by Augustus. Since then it was called Augusto Permensis, after fall of the Western Roman Empire, Chrysopolis. The city of gold. In medieval chronicles, Chrysopolis. Later again Parma. In 570 Parma passed under the power of Lombards, in 774 Franks. In 879 Carloman granted Parma with a county title to the Bishop Widobold. In the 11th, 12th and 13th centuries Parma was the arena of constant fight between Guelph and Ghibellina. Management of the city, nominally republican, was a dispute subject between Rossi, Pallavicino, Correggio, San Matteo's families, etc. In 1167 Parma entered into Vevolsky alliance of the Lombardsky cities. In 1248 near Parma, which was temporarily seized by Ghibellina, the Emperor Frederick II forced thereof at all to leave Italy was crushed. In Parma dominion of Guelph was restored. In 1346 the city seized Visconti and attached it to the Milan Duchy. The father Uli II annexed Parma, together with Piacenza, to papal possession. In 1545 the father Pavel III gave Parma and Piacenza, with their area and with a duchy title, to the illegal son, Pietro Luigi Farnese. In 2 years the Duke Farnese caused the despotism a plot among the top classes of society and was killed. In Piacenza the Milan deputy of the Emperor Charles V, Gonzaga, was approved after that, and Parma by means of papal troops remained for Ottavio Farnese, the son Pietro. In 1558 he returned to himself and Piacenza, under the contract with Philip II. Within 2 centuries Parma and Piacenza led under the power of Farnese's dynasty life of the small independent Italian state with despotic management, shining with luxury of the yard, on custom of all Italian yards patronizing development of arts. Still earlier Parma cathedrals and storages of works of art were put on considerable height by the famous Correggio living here in 1518 for 1530. In 1731 Farnese's dynasty stopped also Parma from Piacenza devolved. In the female line. To the Infanta to the Spanish Charles who conceded them. 1735. To the Austrian Emperor Charles VI in exchange for 2 Sicilies. Having moved to Naples, Charles III transported a considerable part of the values which are saved up by Farnese there. In 1743, on the Aachen-World, Maria II Theresa conceded them, together with Guastalla, who for a long time is since then a part of one with them the states, to Spanish the Infanta Philippa. Management of Bourbons in Parma a little in what differed from their management in other countries. Inquisition prospered, the thought and a word were under heavy oppression, taxes were very heavy. In 1796 Ferdinand, the son and since 1765. A successor Philip left by Austria during revolutionary wars to the mercy of fate paid off from the French of liras and 20 best pictures from the Parma gallery, but in a year, on the Campo Formeschi World, had to concede to the Cisalpinski Republic the possession on the left coast on under the contract between France and Spain, 1801. Ferdinand's son, Ludovic, was made the King of Etruria, with the obligation to cede to France Parma, Piacenza and Guastalla. In 1806 Napoleon gave Guastalla to the sister Paulina Borghese. Under the Parisian Contract of 1814 and decisions of the Vienna Congress, Parma, Piacenza and Guastalla were transferred to Maria Louise, Napoleon's wife, but, in view of protests of Spain, in 1817 was decided by the special contract signed in Paris that after Maria Louise's death duchies passed to successors of Ludovic, the former King of Etruria, except for the territory on the left coast on remaining beyond Austria. Management of Maria Louise, who was quite submitting to Metternich, couldn't suppress aspirations to freedom and unity of Italy. The disorders 1831 were suppressed 1833 and 1846 by the Austrian troops, but the death of Maria Louise, after which the Duchy Parma passed to Charles II, who was until then the Duke Luxembourg, caused new disorders. In 1860 residents of Parma and Piacenza decided to join the United Italy. The daughter of the last Parma Duke married the last Emperor of Austria and lived till 1989. The city strongly suffered from bombings by Allied aircraft at the end of World War II. Sites: An Evangelistas church is constructed behind cathedral in days of the Renaissance, 1494-1510, in Baroque style. The bell tower at it is finished with construction in 1614. Frescoes on a dome were executed by Antonio Allegri, better known as Correggio, 1489-1540. It was the unsurpassed master in art of the image of characters in the dark. He laid a hand to painting of the monastery of Street Pavel, in which the so-called room of the abbess is especially allocated with the furniture. Madonna della Steccata. This church in honor of the Mother of God is constructed in 1521-1539 in imitation St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. It was painted by Parmigianino, 1530-1540. The famous portraitist and the engraver. In the same place the tomb of Dukes Farnese and Bourbonov is at home. Piazza Duomo. It is the ancient square in front of the cathedral, which is on her east side. The cathedral represents the Romance basilica constructed after an earthquake in the 12th century. In cathedral art, treasures of the Parma school are concentrated. They executed Correggio in 1526. 1530, and the painting of a dome representing Maria's rise belongs to the highest achievements of art of the Renaissance, at the same time foretelling a Baroque aesthetics. In the right cross nave of cathedral there is a crucifixion of work of Benedetto Antalami, 1178. In the crypt of cathedral the remains of an early Christian mosaic on a floor remain. Together with campanile, the cathedral represents the finished architectural complex. The baptistry represents the octagonal tower revetted with pink marble. The building is built by the same Antalami in 1196-1260 in Romano-Gothic style. He created relief jewelry on a facade and internal walls of the building. On a dome there are frescoes from Christ's life from within. The Palace of the Bishop, Palazzo del Vescovado. Is built in the 13th century. Is on the square opposite to Cathedral. This central square of the city called by the name of the national hero of Giuseppe Garibaldi, on which is Palazzo del Governatore, now prefecture. Since 13th century there were Palace di Staffeltos and Palazzo del Comune here. This palace was built in 1523-1622, but remained unfinished. It received the name on the ball game widespread in the Basque country and which played in the yard of the building. The palace became the residence of the Sort Farnes. In Della Pilot's palace where dukes lived since 1583, the art gallery, Palatinsky Library and the Museum of Antiquities nowadays are located. Verdi's memorial was originally placed into the square. However, when dismantling military ruins, he was dismantled and temporarily transferred to a corner of the square where it was mounted without town planning requirements. He also costs on area diagonal till this moment. Besides artists Correzzo and Parmigianino, the conductor Arturo Toscanini, the sculptor Benedetto Antelami, the violinist and the composer Antonio Rolla, the director, the actor of cinema and the artist Francesco Barilli, the printer Giambattista Bodoni were natives of Parma. The main residence of dukes. 1564. And Farnes Theatre. 1618. Strongly suffered in 1943, but are so far restored. Rule of the educated and tolerant Maria Louise. 1816-1847. The second spouse of Napoleon Bonaparte, were years of blossoming of the city. Though contemporaries noted rejection by the Duchess not only chocolate cakes, but also the cheese parmesan, which is a subject of pride of citizens. This city was made by Stendhal the scene of action of the novel Parma Monastery. The Parma University, one of the first in Italy. In the real look exists since 1601. The Botanical Garden of Parma, based in 1770, enjoys great popularity. The oldest daily newspaper in Italian, Gazzetta di Parma, is issued in Parma since April 19, 1735. Sport. The city is known for the soccer team, Parma, which was twice winning the UEFA Cup on time in the Cup of Owners of Cups and the European Super Cup. Economically, Parma strongly depends on the food industry. Local cheese, so-called Parmesan, is in demand around the world. Parma is also allocated with existence of the enterprises of mechanical engineering for agriculture. Parma ham is world famous too. The city is known for the pharmaceutical enterprises and perfumery. For example, the Vin Spa. In honor of the well-known Parma violets, local spirits are called. In the city, the exhibition of canned food is annually held. Since 1953, the trolleybus movement works. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.